today's Family First, the pandemic is said to be driving down reports of child abuse.
But this isn't exactly good news, as kids are staying home and away from situations where trained professionals are able to notice signs of mistreatment. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez takes a closer look.
We cannot rely solely on a system that only responds after a child is hurt. And that's one thing we're learning with this pandemic.
The number of child abuse reports is going down, but it doesn't mean fewer children are being hurt. The Associated Press compared data from the first 9 months of the pandemic with the same period in 2019. It found more than 400,000 fewer reports made to Child Protective Services regarding the welfare of a minor. There were also 200,000 fewer reports of child abuse or neglect. One of the biggest reasons for the drop? Remote learning.
When we close the school doors, it changes everything.
The AP report discusses how educators are trained to notice child abuse, but cites how remote learning has restricted what they're able to see, with child abuse reports from school officials down by almost 60%.
A lot of what children disclose is based on relationships with teachers. What the pandemic did was change that. There wasn't that face-to-face relationship.
It's not just the United States. Japan has reportedly seen a record number of child abuse victims during the pandemic. The UK has also experienced a significant increase in the number of deaths and serious injuries linked with child abuse. Experts are calling for change, advocating for professionals to adapt their approach to recognizing child abuse in the ever-growing digital age. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.